Dr. Schrödinger opened the cat food sachet using his habitual method of opening it on one side halfway and then the other half, thus ensuring that the top of the sachet came all the way off. He wondered if any other cat owners used this technique, or did most people suffer the irritation of the top failing to completely disconnect itself and thus remain flapping about as one put the jellified meat into a bowl for the feline creature. His own cat was putting on weight, and after a trip to the vet, where nothing untoward was discovered, he had to admit to himself that since he had started to work at home more, the cat had gained bulk. This was after he had been through various other theories, the solution to which was to put a collar on Apollo, the cat's name, reading, "I am owned, please do not feed me." Or was it simply that the wearing of the collar itself said this? Now he thought of it, he was sure that that's what this meant. How many people would actually read what the disc or medal on the collar says, unless the animal is obviously lost or astray? Then he remembered the black cat he had once seen in the woods at the far end of town, a dense and undulating terrain, a long way from any properties. It had enveloped the cat's inky form as it slunk along like a character from a cartoon about a cat lost in a large, overwhelming, undulating woodland. It had seemed so out of place and yet so lost that he had wanted to rescue it. But there was no chance of reaching it in the space and time he inhabited at that particular instance. The cat was not panicking and seemed to project an aura of almost total confusion and yet total calm, as if it was somehow a reincarnation of a human now destined to forever walk the woods like a hamster on a treadmill in a cage. He had seen that program once where they monitor the terrain of a domestic cat, and they can have a very wide word. What was the word for it? Terrain? Environment? He could not remember, but he found it had to believe that a domestic cat could have a territory that large, but still he tried to take some hope from this knowledge that the cat, which to be fair looked quite healthy, returned each night to the warmth of a 1970s new build property on the nearest estate some half a mile away. This was a cat amongst trees, he reasoned, and as such seemed equally cut off from the world as he, the human being in the land of the pen and the laboratory report, that was so vital for the future research because the bean counters needed to see results. Meanwhile, he could go on trying to not overfeed his own cat.